Alright, welcome back to the DuckHill workshop. My name is Ben, and today our main goal is to finish fitting the hardboard panels so that I can get the silver maple book match veneers veneered and then get everything ready for glue up. So once I get those panels finished, then the only thing left before gluing up this case is finishing the dust frames. So I want to focus on panels first because they'll be fit, and then it's just a matter of fitting and building the dust frames. So let's get to the panels right now.
So let us walk right into the forest, to the trees and the rising sun. It is something we can't outrun. I do whatever it takes to hold you, whatever it takes to you. Wanna be in this game for two. When it all comes down, do you feel alive?
Alright, so now that I think these panels are cut to the right length, we can unclamp this top rail, flip it over and try and install it. So that fits pretty good. Do the other side quick. I think this one is just a little bit proud, so I'll be able to trim that with my hand plane though. That means that we can move on to veneering these two panels, and then while those are gluing up, I can start making the veneers for this side. So that's cool. Let's do that. Alright, so here are our panels. Our hardboard is down here. This is number 3, so this is going to be the inside, farthest under the cabinet, under the desk. And then this is going to be our real showpiece here. So we're going to set the nicest set of book match on this one, and then the other will go here. Again, they're still both very pretty, but we'll just decide which way is which. Okay. So what we know though is that our book match panels together are 12 inches. And our hardboard is 10 1/16. So obviously we need to lose 2 inches off our veneer. Double check that on both of them if that's true. Yeah. So it's really important to remember that as I'm trimming these down, I'm taking the width off of the outside of the panel and not off of the inside seam, which is where the book match happens. You don't want to disturb that, otherwise it breaks up the amount of figure that you have matched together perfectly. Okay, so the panels are trimmed to width. They're ready to be glued and laminated. I'm going to use my 4-way pressure clamps to pull this lamination off. Each panel will get 2, and then I'll put cauls and other smaller clamps on. So before that, from what I learned from doing the tabletop, the desktop here, you can see that right there, is that I am going to put glue, or not glue, I'm going to put flashing tape on all of my cauls so that they don't stick to any glue. So Well, that glue up could definitely be going better. I probably should have done a more thorough dry run before clamping this. What I didn't anticipate on is how quickly the moisture from the glue started to cup the the veneer panels. So I now have every single little clamp I have. A couple of clamping calls, 3 big pipe clamps. So, but the good news is everything looks secure. However, I now really understand the vacuum bagging process and why most veneer is done in that fashion. All right, friends, welcome back to the DuckHill workshop. And today we're pulling, this episode, we are pulling out the live edge, the bookmarked clamps or panels from clamping. You can see they've come down. They're in smaller clamps because you saw the big frame. But what happened is because I thought I was being really smart, trying to clamp these both up at the same time and save time, I put a caul between the two panels so they wouldn't stick to each other. And what happened is along that edge they didn't get enough down pressure, and that edge separated or didn't adhere. So I actually went through and filled it with glue and reclamped because it just was sitting clamshell open. So they've been sitting for a day and a half. Let's go ahead and open these up, and then we will sand them, clean up any glue, and finally put some finish on. I'm so excited. But let's do this. Okay, so now we have glue to clean up. See, I left the actual veneer a little bit long, so that has to get trimmed. A little bit of trimming on the bottom to do. And then we'll install it. Put some sand and put some finish on. So, the other thing that we need to start working on is the veneer panels for the other side. So here I've got a big blank that needs to get resawed, but first it's got some cracks that need to get filled. We'll probably start in on that here this afternoon as well. It's a little dusty in here. I should open a door. I'm going to get a rag and wipe these down with water to raise the grain and then finish sanding at 220. So as I've been sanding these, I have noticed there's a couple of bubbles in the epoxy pour, and there are a couple of places where the epoxy didn't penetrate into smaller cracks. And then there are actually even some beetle tunnels that I should dig out and fill in with epoxy as well. And I'm gonna do that. However, I really want to put finish on this. I really want to show you what these look like with oil on them. So I'm going to go get the oil. We're going to do that, and then I'm going to put some epoxy in. Okay, so this is tried and true original finish. It is a polymerized linseed oil and beeswax. It's a quart. It supposedly covers, what does it say? A gallon will cover 1,000 square feet. So 250 square feet for a quart. And it's a lot more viscous than I thought it would be, but because it's oil and beeswax, that makes sense. And you put on a very, very thin coat, which I think is interesting for an oil. Normally I'm used to doing a flood coat, but it says a thin coat. Buff it down, let it cure or soak in for 60 minutes, and then buff it until the surface feels dry. And then you want to burnish it with a 4/0 steel wool that's 0000, and then it needs to cure for 24 hours before you can do another coat. So here we go. Alright guys, there it is. I got impatient. I wanted to see what they looked like in the frame. Until next time.